Okay, so let's begin. So tonight, part 2 is we've got a host of topics that we want to cover. So Esther, you're asking the big questions. Why is the bet so big? It's a great question. I'm not going to go into that right now because we'll get lost in that question. But it is a very, very good question. Esther's asking a question because throughout the Torah we find larger than average letters. So all the letters in the Torah have a specific size in the font, and then there are certain letters that are larger, and sometimes we find letters that are smaller. But I'm not. If you'll forgive me, I'm not going to touch on that right now. So last week we actually pretty much spent all the time. We didn't even go through the first verse of the Torah. We spent our time exploring the first 3 words of the first verse. And tonight I'm going to fly ahead. We're going to move ahead by a chapter. Well, before we move ahead by chapter, let me open my Sefaria, and I'm going to share my screen and show you what I'd like to begin with. Okay, so if you've got your own Chumash, we are moving along to day 6 of creation. And then I'm going to move on. I've gone too far. I apologize. I want to come back here. Okay, this is what I want to begin with tonight. If we go to chapter 1, verse 26 in the Torah, this is the 26th verse in the Torah, you will find this pasuk, Vayomer Elikim, and Hashem said, and if my English and the Safari English don't match up, don't worry about it. Safari is using a particular interpretation in their English, as we all do, but don't worry about it. Vayomer Hashem, Vayomer Elikim, and Hashem said, Nase Adam b'tzameinu kidmosenu. Let us make man. Let us make man. That, let me highlight for you in the English, is a serious question, which is going to be one of the first questions we're going to cover tonight. Let us, who is us, Tonto? Let us make man in our image. Who is us? And what is the image? How could we say Hashem has an image? Now, that's an obvious question because we know in Judaism, God has no image. But tonight is not a theological class. I'm not doing a 5-part series on Jewish theology. That's not my contribution to the world. I'm not a theologian. There are much greater minds than mine. I want to, so from a theological point of view, God cannot have an image. It says it in the 10 Commandments, don't make an image, don't bow to idols. But the question is, what is this image? And even more so, our image, after our likeness. There is this whole conversation. It seems like Hashem is consulting with others in how to design the man. And when we say the man, we mean the human. It's very, very clear, as you'll see shortly, that we're talking about a human. So in our likeness, they shall rule. They shall rule. So hang on, let us make man. Let us make human. So is human singular or is it plural? And you'll see why this is going to be a question. They'll rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the cattle of the whole earth, and all the creeping things that are on it. Okay, fine. That I'm not taking apart. Then, Vayivra Elikim es Adam. So Hashem creates the man. I know it says, and God created man, but Ha-Adam means the man. It's not Vayivra Elikim es Adam. Hashem created man. It's Ha-Adam. It's a proper noun. But Salmai, in his image, B'Tselem Elikim, in the image of God. Bara Isai, he created it. Zachar and Nekeva Bara Isam, he created them, man and woman, which is crazy because we all know full well that Eve only comes into the picture after Adam. Yeah, I'll show you. Okay, we've got the Shabbat here. I'll show you. One sec. Here. And Hashem took the man and placed him in the Garden of Eden. And Hashem commanded him, look after everything, don't eat from the tree. I'll come back to that. And then Hashem said, it's not good for the man to be alone. I will make a fitting helper for him. So this is already chapter 2, verse 18. In chapter 1, where we've got the 6 days of creation, it says, let us make the man. Let's make the man, the person, and we'll make the person masculine and feminine. And then it talks about this human in the singular, and then it talks about in the plural. But how could it be a plural? We haven't got the creation on Eve yet. Eve only comes much later, where it says, oh dear, it's not good for the man to be alone, so I will make a fitting helper for him. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to close my shared screen because that is the first part of tonight's class. Now, before I begin, Phil already has a question. So Phil, you can, I believe, unmute yourself. I haven't made the rules as strict. Yeah, you can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question at this point.
No question, Menachem. I just was waving my hands around.
Oh, gee, you've taken it to a whole new level. Not just you waving.
I'm getting all excited here. I'm getting all excited.
Good. I'm now going to, I'll spotlight myself. That way you can see me nice and clear. Okay, so the questions that I'd like to tackle is, what is the image of Hashem? And what is the creation of Adam? What is Adam? And what is the spiritual significance? We're going to have a bit of a Kabbalah fest now. Here we go. Where to begin? Let us make the human in our image indicates that at the point of creation, Hashem is telling us that Hashem is a single entity that is making room for other things, and therefore within itself is actually multiple. It's not that there are multiple gods, but we have, let's go back to last week. We have the white parchment. The white parchment is an empty canvas. And then there is the drops of ink that become the letters. So those letters can only form because the white parchment exists. And the white parchment only exists because someone has brought the white parchment to the table. So we're going to break all of what's called Hishtalshelus, which is the infinite process of energy manifesting. First, there is the infinite, non-defined, indivisible. The infinite creates within itself a cholol. A cholol is a blank space, absent of infinite energy. So that finite reality could take shape, because the finite cannot exist within the infinite. The infinite, by definition, means it cannot be defined. And so therefore there can't, although the finite exists within the infinite as one of the infinite options of what the infinite could be, it doesn't exist unto itself, it exists theoretically. And so what the infinite does is, and when I say the infinite, we mean in Hebrew, this is called the Ein Sof, which would be a more accurate way to speak about Hashem would be Ein Sof, which means the infinite, the one with no end. And so the Ein Sof, the infinite, creates a space for finite reality. That is miracle number one, that the infinite can suspend its own infinite nature. And this is beginning to share with us the answer of, can God create a rock that is too heavy for God? Well, can the infinite spare itself so that a finite space can exist, and then finite realities can emerge within that finite space? So we have we've got nothing, then we've got the parchment, then we've got the black ink on the parchment. So we've got three different steps of reality. Within the infinite, Hashem is both masculine and feminine, and everything else. Hashem is all possibilities of reality. And as Hashem creates the space for the physical reality, Let us make a mirrored reality of ourselves. So I want us to think about the creative process of a human being, because the creative process. Sorry. Someone is locked out. They're not locked out, but they've gone to the wrong thing. And I'm going to just make this exception of send them the link, because we did stuff it up a little. Okay. So the creative process of a human. You have a seminal drop and you have an egg. And the two of them coming together creates not just another cell, not just another 10 cells, not just another million cells. It creates a conscious entity. The cells which are not conscious create conscious entities like you and me. And so you have a masculine component and you have a feminine component, and they come together. The masculine component emerges in a very, very sudden moment. It comes about because in the male role, it's all very quick. It's all very quick. A single cell needs to be emitted. It happens in a matter of moments. And then in context of human creation, the male is done. And then the female holds on to that cell. And magic takes place over the course of 9 months, the magic of pregnancy, the magic of reproduction. So the male role is momentary. And the male role actually happens only when he reaches some sort of climactic, blissful experience, and it's over. And in the female role, it is this protracted process which then emerges with a baby coming out. In the 10 Sefirot, does everyone know what the 10 Sefirot are? The 10 Sefirot is that chart of circles and lines you often find on the front cover of many Kabbalistic books. The first of the Sefirot in the 10 Sefirot of existence, we're going to talk about it in context of Chokhmah being the first. Chokhmah is a spark. It's like when you have an idea. There was nothing and then there's something. You know, when you have an idea, it just goes, you just have this idea. It just comes to you. There was nothing, and then you peak and there's this explosion. But that explosion cannot be imparted to someone else. You can't talk that explosion through to someone, but rather it goes through Bina. Bina is the development of an idea. It's the analysis of an idea. It is the breaking down of the elements so that the idea can be communicated, so that it can be built and it can be constructed as a thought. Chokhmah is masculine and Bina is feminine. To have an idea takes 1 moment. To analyze an idea can take 9 months. You see what I'm playing with? So Chokhmah is the spark, Bina is the development, and Das is going to be our next product. Now, in context of that thought process of the 10 Sefirot, that is actually what also lies at the basis of everything. Everything is made up of the 10 Sefirot. And so we have Chokhmah, the spark of the creative desire. Hashem wants a reality. So now that reality needs to be designed, and then that reality can be created. The masculine, feminine creation. So when the Torah says, "Na'aseh Adam b'tzalmenu kidmosenu," let us make man in our image, it's quite literally in the image. Now I'm going to present another image for you. Just give me a sec. So I'm going to show you what the 10 Sefirot looks like in the human form. I just want to get it here. No. There's a great one in my father's book. And here it is. Hey, where'd the picture go? Here we are. Okay. I'll share my screen with you just for the, I'll make it easier. Okay. Here, you see the head? We've got Chachma, Bina, Da'at, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. So we've got, just ignore that circle. We've got Chachma, Bina, Da'at, the top three, intellectual, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, emotional, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, impulsive, behavioral. Yesod sits right over the groin, meaning that is the point of where the creative energy is emitted into this reality. That chart is based on an outlay of the Sfirot. Sorry, I'll go back and just share my screen for a moment, just so once I'm showing you pictures, I might as well show you. So this is the chart I'm talking about. You see, Chachma, Bina, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. This chart, I'm not picking it apart. This is from the Sefer Yetzirah right now. This is not for now. But this chart, you can see the head, the arms here, this is the chest, the stomach, the groin, and existence. It's beyond the groin. This is the next generation. So so that chart, which is what I keep referring to as the 10 Sefirot, that chart is in Kabbalah. That system is what everything in reality is made up of. Everything, every stone, every cloud, every person is made up of the Sefirot, these energies that come together in different volumes, in different amounts, and they morph into the reality as we know it. So this is where spiritual becomes physical. So when we say Nasa Adam B'Tzalmenu Kidmosenu, what the Kabbalists interpret that to mean is that Hashem takes the 10 Sfirot and says, what will the 10 Sfirot look like in the prototype like us? Not that I am a man, not that I am a woman, says Hashem, but if I were to create a human with the energies that make up everything that I've put into reality, what would it look like? It looks like the human. And you'll say, but who's us? Is God us? So no, God is not us. Take light. So you have light, and light comes from a source of light. So let's use the sun, for example. So you've got the sunlight. Sunlight is a radiation from the sun. If you would meet sunlight, not what sunlight is illuminating, sunlight itself, a ray of light, it's however many millions of kilometers away from the sun. You say, hello, sunlight. You say, hello, my name's Menachem. What's your name? Sunlight would say to you, my name is not important. Do you want to meet where I come from? I come from the sun. Sunlight knows that it is nothing. Sunlight knows that it is just an emanation, and that as soon as the sun turns off, the sunlight will cease to exist. So it has absolute humility. It doesn't say, I am radioactive. It doesn't say, I am hot. I am illumination. No, because sunlight knows that the moment the sun stops shining, it ceases to exist. So it is completely humble. But on the other hand, sunlight is the sun sharing itself with you. The sun doesn't come to you. The sun expresses sunlight, and you meet the sun via sunlight. So sunlight is the sun already expressing itself to you. You can't say sunlight is the sun, right? You don't go, oh, that's the sun. No, you say, that's the sun. This is sunlight here. But on the other hand, you can't say sunlight is not the sun because it's completely rooted in the sun. Without the sun, there is no sunlight. Just park all the complex physics to the side. I know that light is wave and particle and all that. I'm just go with the metaphor here. So sunlight is the sun expressing itself, but it is not the sun, but it is not the sun. It is the sun saying, I want to talk to you. So I'm emitting myself. So I say, I don't want to meet sunlight. I want to meet the sun. So if you come to the edge of the sun, the edge of the sun, is that the sun? Is that the sun? Well, you tell me if it's the sun. It is the outside of the sun. It is the part of the sun that is a face to the world. Kabbalah has a very interesting thing to say about the human face. The face is this beautiful expression of the soul. Because our face does so much by doing nothing at all, right? You just sit there and you have your eyes open and your face is there. And it just tells the world all about you. You know, people look at each other's faces and they feel connection. They feel they know each other. They know what each one is feeling, just like now. Right? I've got a big smile on my face. That was a terrible smile because it wasn't real. You know, the face, but when I smile, my face isn't coming out and moving into the camera. My face is here. The external side of the sun is the sun's external side, meaning it's the sun beginning to have a relationship with the outside world. Sunlight, we know, is a full-on relationship with the outside world, but we don't want that. So we go, what about the edge of the sun? Truth is, the edge of the sun is actually the external part of the sun, which is there to relate to the outside world. What's on the other side of the edge of the sun? The inside of the sun. You say, oh, the inside of the sun has nothing to do with the outside world, right? Kabbalah would say, and again, it's not saying this about the sun, it's using the sun as a metaphor. Say, no. The inside of the sun is the inside of the outside. And while it has nothing to do with what is beyond the outside, it is the inside preparing itself to be the outside so that it can then radiate sunlight. So even the inside, which you can't see, has a relationship already with the outside world because it is preparing itself to be the outside. So the inside of the outside edge is actually just the inside of the outside edge, which means it has a shaychus, it has a relationship, el hazulas, to the other. If you want to get to something more core, you have to go another layer. The inside of the inside. It has nothing, it doesn't exist for the purpose of the outside. The inside of the outside, it doesn't exist for the outside, but it is the backbone for outside expressions, which means it has to have a relationship with it. The outside has a relationship with the outside. That's why it's the outside. And then the ray of light is the sun integrating itself into everything else. It's a bit, so if I would use the classic teacher example, Isaac Newton has this idea. There's this thing called gravity. Okay, it's got nothing to do with the world. This is nothing to do with his students. This is there. Then Isaac Newton says, okay, I actually want to talk about gravity to my students. So he moves from having the concept of gravity to thinking about how he's going to communicate gravity. That is not able to be communicated because after he thinks about how he's going to communicate it, then he puts it into a class structure, then he eventually will open his mouth and talk about it. So the first idea has nothing to do with the world beyond. And even when he starts thinking about how am I going to communicate it, he's not putting a plan together, a class structure, but he is actually beginning to consider how he's going to relate to the world beyond. And the idea moves to other-centered. So when Hashem says, "Nase Adam b'tzalmenu kidmosenu," let us make man, us, make man, is Hashem in a very external sense already beginning to relate to the concept of why he is creating reality. This is not the core of Hashem, the unified, singular, infinite, not indivisible, non-binary, non-anything. When Hashem says us, it's indicating that there's a manifestation from infinite to finite, and it's like It's not the ray of light that is doing the creating. It is like the inside of the outside. There is a relationship to what will be in the world. And although we are talking about Hashem in this very, very cosmic, profound idea, it is already not Hashem. It's much like Elohim. It is the expression of Hashem beginning to manifest, and it will eventually manifest B'Tzalmenu in our image of the 10 Sfirot. Kid Moseno in our, as the makeup, the demus, the form that we have, which is what the human is going to be. So what is the human? Ha'adam. Let us make Ha'adam, the human. And the human is, we're going to have to make it Zachar and Nekeva, male and female. Why? Because I'm male and female. Us. We. The Kidmosenu, we, the origin, are both masculine and feminine. Everything that's happened in the 6 days of creation up until this point is masculine and feminine. It's all Chachma Bina. It's all seminal drop and incubation. It's all particle and wave. It's all fitting into this system. If you look at the Hebrew language, everything is either male or female. Not just people, everything. The masculine, masculine, feminine. Masculine, feminine are the forces that exist within the universe, and then something crazy happens when they come together. They create. When masculine and feminine come together, there is creation. When Hashem's masculine and feminine come together, when Chochmah and Bina come together, we end up with Malchus. We end up with a physical reality. So let us create, and then we will create Kid Mosenu in our image. And then what happens? Hashem creates. Hashem creates an entity that is both masculine and feminine. And I'm going to go one more step, and then I'm going to pause for questions. And then in the second chapters where I showed you, Hashem says, oh dear, it's not good that the human is alone. Come, I will make an Ezer Kenegdo. I'll make an equal for him. And what does Hashem do? Hashem actually splits Adam into male and female separate entities. And with that, we have the beginning of Eve, Chava, and Adam, the man. Adam goes from being Adam, the prototype human, to Adam, the man, and Chava, the woman. And so where does Chava come from? Where does Adam come from? They come from themselves. It's the male and female being turned into two things, and that way they are fully compatible and able to mate, able to recreate. Now, why is that so cool? Is because Hashem is a single entity that says, I want a physical universe, and I want an Ezer Kenegdo. I want a partner in this reality, and creates humankind, a force that, and what does Hashem say? You saw the verse, says it will be the master over the fish and the birds and everything. And just as the infinite is the master of all, Hashem provides the human with this incredible ability to be the master of all. Kid Moseno, in our image. So just as Hashem is singular and then manifests into multiple parts, so the human is singular and is brought into two parts, and then those two parts will create, just as Hashem says, I want a reality. So creates a system that will then create a reality. There's so much more to say on this, which is why this is not the end of the class, but I'm just going to pause. If anyone's got any questions, you can unmute yourself.
So are we the mirror image of Hashem, so to speak?
We are, yes, because I can't say yes, but I don't want to say no. We are a physical format that is created with the inspiration of, if Hashem was expressing itself, this is what Hashem wants the expression to be. So it's just dangerous to say mirror image, because we don't want to give God a form, but we are very deliberately designed differently. We are the only species that our head is completely on top of our shoulders, our feet are on the floor. We are the only really vertical species, where the head sits above the heart, and the heart sits above the gut, and the gut above the legs. So animals are always looking down. We look forward, we look up, we look down. An animal, so to speak, the brain and the heart are on the same level. walk on their four. It would be like, well, kangaroos don't, but kangaroos do, because when they need to eat and when they need to do things, they need to bend down in a very different way to the human does. We are a very, very interesting design. And this is the design that Hashem wants of I'm not using the term superior in like some superior way, but as in this is the image of Hashem as Hashem would like to be represented in this world through the souls that are the human.
Because the other interesting thing is that over the course of the 6 days of creation, there were 10 utterances.
Yes.
And those 10 utterances related to the 10 Sfirot.
Yes.
And we are effectively in the image of the 10 Sfirot as the different aspects, the creative aspects of Hashem.
Yes.
I mean, each of the other elements of creation are combined, make up what we are.
Yes. Yes.
So in other words, all of creation is reflected in us.
Yes. And that becomes a very interesting conversation as to the human being the last of all creation. Now, in a moment, we're going to get to an interesting conversation about the ecosystem and the role of humanity. But just any other questions before we get there?
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I was under the impression, or I learned somewhere, that it was God saying to the angels, let you and me make man.
Yes. So the Medrash is filled with this. The Medrash talks about Hashem saying to the angels, let us make man. Now, why that is a very, very important Medrash, thanks Hilary for raising that, is because angels, so the world of the physical, so that is the whole universe and theoretical possibilities of the universe, all things physical and potential physical, and so time, space, energy, as we spoke about it, is called Olam Asiyah. That is the physical dimension. Above it sits, or it exists within a greater dimension called Olam Hayetzirah, which is the world of formation. Formation, not in a defined sense, but not in a complete abstract sense. It's an abstract reality. Angels exist within that reality, meaning angels have names, angels have description, but angels don't take up space. You can't meet the angel Michael. You can't meet the angel Raphael. You can't meet Uriel. They're not people. They're not birds. They can't be drawn. Any drawings that we have of angels are more often than not coming out of Christian art, if they're from the West, or other traditions that have angelic concepts. But we don't have pictures of angels in Judaism. We have some fascinating descriptions in the Nach of beings that are seen in vision, but these are abstract visions. This is like when you have a dream and you tell me a dream, trust me, you're not telling me, you'll tell me, you're not telling me the dream accurately, but you don't have the words. So you say things that aren't really what you were thinking, but you don't have the words. So you use words that we have, but it's an inaccuracy. So to say angels have wings, they don't have wings, but we don't have another word. So we have to say wings. Angels are white. We don't have another word. So we say angels are white, but angels are right. They're left. They're chesed. They're gevurah. They're all sorts of things. So the angels exist in the world of formation, but not physicality. That's Yetzirah. Above that is the realm of Bria, existence, the potential. Bria is like Bereshit, Bria. It exists. It's creation, but it is not even formation. It's like a concept prior to any development. Then you have development prior to actual manifesting. So that's three realms. There are no angels in that realm, but you have the origin of angels, the potential for angels, the concept that will then manifest into an angel. Then you have above that the realm of Atzilut, which means the shining, which means it is not really a dimension as much as it is relating to the sources of its own origin. Now, I'm not getting into the whole four worlds thing now, which is fascinating stuff in its own right on a mystical level. But it's because Hillary mentioned the Medrash, which says, Hashem says, let us create man, is consulting with the angels. On what realm are the angels? In the realm of Yetzirah, which is the dimension which Asiya sits within. Which means that already we've moved beyond Atzilus, beyond Bria, into Yetzirah, where there is a conversation of let us make man, meaning I've now created the realm of formation. I'm going to consult, Hashem says, I'm going to consult with my realm of formation about manifesting itself into the realm of physicality. So, we talk about the angel Raphael, which is the angel of healing. Refuah, healing. The Gomorrah says, if you want to meet the angel Raphael, if you want to meet the angel Raphael, and I'm going to skirt some pretty hot subjects right now in the world, but if you want to meet the angel Raphael, the Gomorrah says, go talk to a doctor. The doctor is the angel Raphael operating in this world. Meaning it's the angel, it's the force of healing that is manifesting in healing. So doctors, whether that be a preventative health doctor, whether that be a Western health doctor, whatever. I'm not getting into who's a doctor, who's not. That's not tonight. I'm talking about the concept of a healer. Is the Raphael manifesting in the physical world? Raphael, the angel of healing, is Yetzirah. The concept of this whole idea originates in Bria, which is the third dimension up from where we are. And then it is so if I'm just going to use a light metaphor for a moment, you have light, white light, and it goes through a prism. It then is refracted, and then eventually it will hit a surface, and that's where you see Roy Gabiv. You'll see the 7 colors of the rainbow. You don't see the 7 colors at the point of refraction, and you don't see it prior. White light can't be seen, but it's united. Then it goes through a prism, it's split up, but you still don't see it. You only see it when it hits a surface, right? So you have colors when they hit a surface, colors as they exist in that form before it's illuminating, and then colors as they exist in a united form. And so when we think of light as a metaphor, you got the white light, the refracted light, the visual, the seen light. Okay, so when the Medrash says, let us create man, is Hashem consulting with the angels, we're talking about colors, saying, should we keep radiating? Should we radiate into a world where they will see red, they will see green, they'll see blue? And that's Hillary, that's what Hillary's referring to, where Hashem's consulting, which again is telling us that this whole story of creation is on a very, very low plane. It's the plane above physicality, the plane above the physical reality that we exist in. Okay, so I've tackled a whole lot of the questions that I advertised.
Thank you, Menachem.
No worries. So we've discussed, was Adam female, male or female? The answer is Adam was both male and female. And how that all works is beyond tonight, but it's absolutely fascinating that it is a body. The prototype human is a body that has male reproductive organs, female reproductive organs, and it has 2 faces, and they face away from each other. These are like Siamese twins almost, but completely one, feeling as one. And then Hashem splits them so that they can face each other. And we have the whole creation process is facing each other. This has massive implications in context of sexual conduct, from a Kabbalistic point of view, about face-to-face conduct sexually, because that is Adam and Eve coming to face one another, and then the joy and the bliss that they experience in intimate moments. That is the creative process. And then when a couple reach this climactic sexual experience, then what's happening is they're moving into a state of complete oneness. They stop to feel themselves as an entity of themselves, but they're just moving into this blissful state together. These are all fascinating ideas in Kabbalah, which mimic the creative process. So Adam was both. Hashem is neither, but Hashem is both. Hashem is both masculine and feminine. And as Hashem flows into this world, there are more pronounced masculine sides, there are more pronounced feminine sides. So a woman is not feminine. A woman is predominantly feminine. A male is not masculine. A male is predominantly masculine. Meaning that we all have feminine and masculine components to who we are. And you can have very, very feminine males, and you can have very, very masculine females. And this has nothing to do with being camp or butch or anything like that. That would be so trivial. We're talking about sfirot. We're talking about chokhmah and bina. Like some people are more creative and some are more analytical. An analytical mind is a feminine mind. A developmental mind is a feminine mind. Generosity is masculine. Internal core strength and restraint is feminine. Like, this is complex stuff. And so how the spirit play out in each one of us, we can be more masculine and more feminine, but the reason why we're compatible is because we are both masculine and feminine, just as the prototype Adam was, and just as when Adam and Eve, when they were split, they were actually both still masculine and feminine, but they were moving in different measures, and therefore they are different but compatible. And only through the togetherness is there able to be creation. And that is Hashem manifesting as well in masculine and feminine. So we've also discussed who did Hashem consult with, and why does Hashem use this sort of language of let us make man, to indicate that we're moving through the manifestation process where the infinite has moved into an expression in many, many ways, and the beginning of many is two, masculine and feminine. And then there is the let us, the consulting. Now it's interesting because let us make man. I wanted to just say this because the Kabbalah is a fascinating thing. Let us make man. Who's Hashem talking to? Hashem's talking to himself. He's talking to himself in context of being his own other. Let us make man. But there is nothing, there is no creation yet. So let us make man there is no creation yet is consulting with self. But when you start talking to yourself, I don't know how many of you talk to yourself. I talk to myself from time to time. Only crazy people don't talk to themselves. I remember I had a teacher that used to say, everyone hears voices, just crazy people talk back to them. So we all have voices, we all talk to ourselves, we all have these different things. So when Hashem talks to himself, he's talking to the possibility for there to be an other. You don't talk to yourself if you don't want to be, when you talk to yourself, like you go, okay, let me just talk that out. You know, when you talk something out to yourself, it's because you're moving yourself from yourself. You're now having a dialogue where you are your own other. Hashem has moved out of himself to create a potential for an other, and then creates Bereshis and creates the other. So that's I just wanted to point that out because that's a really, really important chapter about it that has massive bearings on how creation comes to be. We've spoken a bit about what existed before. We touched on that last week, touched on this week. I want to move to the fact that humankind is the last thing that is created. Daniel says maybe Hashem formed a committee. That there are all sorts of scholars that love to take Genesis and turn it into approaches for how to live life, and Hashem is definitely quite consultative. There's something to be learnt there. And Beck has said, has asked the question, was Eve really the first woman? And from me, you're only going to get one answer, and the answer is yes. Okay, we're going to have a discussion about that, but I'm going to stick with that for today. Okay. Now, someone had a question earlier. Beck says she raised her hand. Do you want to? Oh, so Beck, is the question that you've got, why is Hashem only referred to as a man? Is that the question you want me to answer? So I'll answer that question because that was one of the questions that we spoke about in the lead up to tonight that we have to answer. Why is Hashem a man? Hashem is never a man. Hashem is male, or masculine, I should say. It says, and he said, and his, Hashem is he, and he said, or you know, when you talk about Hashem, you say, well, Hashem, you know, he. So Hashem is male, not female. So Hashem is masculine. Sorry, Hashem is not male. Hashem is masculine. A male is a person who is a human who is created, or a species that is created with certain reproductive organs and a biology, That's a male, and a female is one that is created with reproductive organs and a biology. That is a female. Hashem doesn't have organs. Hashem is not male or female. Hashem is masculine only in relation to if there is a feminine. Sometimes Hashem is feminine. So for example, in the temple, Hashem is feminine. Hashem is Shekhinah. Shekhinah is feminine. So it depends on the context as to what Hashem is. It's like a plug and a socket. A plug is male and a power socket in the wall is female. No one ever has questions about this, interestingly. Why is the plug male? Because it plugs in to a female socket. And you can't plug in two males, just as you can't plug in two females. I'm talking about from an electricity point of view. So when we are dealing with a plug and a socket, we need one of each. The creator is masculine and the incubator is feminine. Hashem puts an energy into this world to be developed, to be nurtured, for something new to be created. The world is feminine. Humanity is feminine. Hashem is masculine. Hashem emits. Hashem gives. Hashem gives the 10 commandments. Hashem creates. It's very chokhmah. It's that seminal drop. And then the world exists and takes it and develops it and creates something with it. We make choices. So the world is feminine. Humanity is feminine. Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people, as described in the Torah, we are feminine, of which Hashem is masculine. Hashem is the top of the mountain, we are the bottom of the mountain, and the two come together. So Hashem is masculine in the Torah more often than not in the dialogue, because Hashem is playing the masculine role and we are playing the feminine role. So it's not that Hashem is masculine, but in the dialogue where there's a masculine and feminine, Hashem is taking that side of the dance. When we do the service in the temple, we are masculine and Hashem is feminine, of which, and even more interestingly, when Mashiach comes in the future, the world will be a revelation of the divine feminine. So when people talk about Hashem being, look at the Torah, Hashem is male. Yeah, Hashem is masculine in context of the creation story. But if you go through everything in Kabbalah, you'll find that Hashem is constantly dual, masculine and feminine. And just to answer Chaim's question, says, I'm confused. Did Hashem speak? Hashem said, let us make man. If we look at the Hebrew, it says, Nase Adam b'tzamei k'masenu, and Vayivra ha'adam, made the human. So if we look in the English, it says man. If you look at what the intention of the pasuk is, it's the human, because it is first human with masculine and feminine. So unless a man is someone who has both male and female, it's actually human. And only after Adam and Chava separated does Adam become Adam the man, as opposed to Adam the prototype human.
Sorry, my question wasn't that. My question was, did he speak to the angels or to himself when he said that?
Oh, when he says, let us make the man.
Yes.
So
Did
the
he speak to the angels or himself?
Okay, so the Medrash is saying that Hashem speaks to the angels. But if we look at how Kabbalah frames that whole Medrash, the angels are not truly a separate entity. It's much like the example that I gave earlier of the outside and the inside of the sun. Neither of them are sunlight. They're flip sides of the same thing. So when Hashem is consulting with angels, in truth, Hashem is consulting with self, but it is self, just like when we talk to ourselves out loud. We're talking to ourselves, there's no one else there, but we're talking to ourselves in context of ourselves being our own other. And so angels are not separate entities. In Judaism, there is no concept of angels being their own entity. You don't have angels just running around doing their own thing.
Oh, God.
That exists in other religions, but there is nothing but Hashem. So it is more like, I can talk about myself, or I can talk about my hand. But nobody for a second would talk about my hand as being separate from me. Sometimes I talk about myself in the unity, in a unified form, and sometimes I talk about myself in a non-unified, where I talk about my foot is hurting me. What do you mean your foot is hurting me? You're in pain with your foot. Your foot is you. But sometimes we talk about ourselves in that way.
So when God sent the angels to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, what you're saying is he sent him part of himself to destroy, not angels, but the Christian world call it angels. Okay.
Yeah. And that comes back to the Gomorrah that I mentioned before, that it is not a doctor who heals, and it is not medicine that provides healing. Rather, it is Hashem who heals, and it is Hashem who heals the body. The way Hashem's created the world is that Hashem flows, the knowledge of Hashem flows through the research, through the discovery, and the healing flows through whatever it is that nature has dictated as being medicine. So today, medicine is one thing and it works. And if you go back 2,000 years, medicine was something else and it kind of worked. And if you tried to use medicine from 2,000 years ago, today it wouldn't work, because as the human keeps discovering, so Hashem's flow keeps flowing. And that's why we actually see all of medicine as a miracle. Now, that doesn't mean you go, oh, I believe in Hashem, I don't take medicine. Quite the contrary, because we said last week, Hashem created Hateva. Hashem is nature. And there is a natural, discoverable way of discovering Hashem's wisdom in this world. And that's what research is. That's what the sciences are, whether those sciences are Western sciences or Eastern sciences. Again, I'm not getting into that. I'm talking about the discovery of the world. You look up into the sky and you see the wisdom of Hashem. You see how the planets are aligned. You see how the stars are aligned. Now, if you want to go and follow some astrological thinking on that, that's beautiful. If you want to follow some astronomical thinking on that, that's beautiful. The discovery that is science is the discovery of Hashem, and the implications of those discoveries, such as medicine, are how Hashem's healing comes into this world, amongst other ways. So yes, so Sodom and Gomorrah are not destroyed by independent angels that have gone psycho, but rather this is the narrative of how we talk about the infinite destroying. Well, the infinite destroys the finite. Can't be. You can't mix your metaphors like that. So we have a metaphor of the angel which exists within the realm of the metaphorical, which is the Olam Yetzirah. I just want to
God this great also made us, so therefore we must be part of God.
100%, 100%. Which is what yes, 100%. No need to clarify anything there. We are a chelek elokah. We say it. We are a chelek elokah. We are a part of the infinite. Which brings me to the last point of tonight's class. What I find so exciting in the 21st century, we are the last of the creations in the sixth day of creation narrative. And then we saw in the pasuk, let me just go back to the pasuk for you, just so that we're all back together. I'm going back to chapter one. Here we are. I'll put it on my screen for a second, just so you can see this, because this is amazing. I love this. This is pasuk 29. And Hashem said, see, I give you every seed-bearing plant that is upon all earth, and every tree that is seed-bearing, they shall be yours. There's so much encoded in these words. I haven't got time to take it apart. And to all the animals on the land and all the birds of the sky, and to everything that creeps, blah, blah, blah. Hashem says, I'm giving it all to you, to the human. Now, what do plants need to survive? In order for a plant to survive, it needs minerals, the soil, it needs air, and it needs water. When were those things created? On day 1, 2. So for a plant to exist, it requires the things that were created before it. What does an animal need in order to survive? an animal requires plants or other animals, as well as water and air. So it requires everything that was created before it. What do plants not need in order to survive? They don't need animals. What do humans require in order to exist? We need animals, or if you're not, if you're a vegetarian or you're a vegan, fine. We need plants, we need water, we need air. But do animals need humans? No. Do plants need humans? No. Everything needs whatever was created before it, but nothing needs anything that was created after it. Which means that the human is the last being, which means nothing that Hashem created actually requires the human being. Nothing Hashem created requires human beings. Just think about that for a second. So let's just come to 21st century ecosystem. We're living in a biome, this thing, okay? Just what does the ecosystem need people for? Nada. Nada. If there is one redundant thing in the universe, it's human beings. We give nothing, we take everything. It's fascinating. And yet, at the end of the creation story of in Pasuk 28, Chavches, Hashem says, I'm giving it all to you. And Hashem says, I'm putting you in the Garden of Eden, la'avdo l'shomra, to work it and to guard it. You work it, you protect it. La'avda, serve it, eved. So when we work, oved, avodah, is the root of that word is eved, which means servant. We work the world as a servant, or l'shomra, and to guard it. The human being was not put into this world to be a part of the ecosystem. The human being is the only species that Hashem creates with higher consciousness. I will make you kid mosenu, betzalmenu kid mosenu. Hashem does not use that term about any other species or creation. It's not that the rocks are created kid mosenu. It's not that the animals are created betzalmenu. Yes, they all have the energy of Hashem, but the only species that has the God consciousness is the human. Betzalmenu kid mosenu. And Hashem is an observer that Hashem is an outside observer of reality, creates reality for a higher purpose. It's not just to create, because what does the infinite need creation for? The infinite wants creation so that creation can become a part of the infinite. But no species can achieve that except the human. So what is the role of the human being? The role of the human being is to bring meaning and purpose, consciousness and awareness, spiritual integration and significance into the world. Avda ulashomra, masculine, feminine. Make the world a clear reality of the masculine, feminine energy, which it is a manifestation of. That's what I want you to do. Please, Adam, can you do me that one favor? I've created everything. You are the bottom of the food chain, which means spiritually, you are the lowest. Anything, because anything that's closer to the source, like where is light the purest? At its source. So in the beginning, there was light and dark. Those are the two most purest creations. And as you keep going, you move away from the source. The last thing is the human being. On the other hand, the whole purpose of air, water, plants, animals is to sustain the lowest thing, which is the human, because the lowest thing, the human, is the original intention that can bring consciousness to this world. So on the one hand, as human beings, we are the ultimate purpose of reality. On the other hand, we are the lowest thing in reality. Not just that, and I'm going to leave you with this because this is for next week. It's for next week. What is the root of the word Adam? Adam shares the same shorish. Adam, human, shares the same shorish as Adama. Ha-Adam, the human, rearranged letters, is Adama, the earth. The earth. Not the sky, not the water, the earth. The earth is the only thing that doesn't go up. Air can go up and down if it's hot or cold. Water can go up and down if it evaporates there. Right? What doesn't go up or down is the earth. It's always down. It's always at the bottom. But it's from what everything grows. But but we are the bottom. So in the lead up to next week, where we're going to explore this idea of Adam and Adamah, because we're also the only thing that wasn't created from word. Hashem says, let there be, and there was. Does not say Hashem said, let there be man. Hashem forms the man, forms the human, I should say, in the earth, and then breathes into the human the breath of life, which we're going to talk about next week. That's next week, not tonight. So don't ask me any questions on that, because you're not going to get there. But let's just think about the ecosystem and the role of humanity and the place and where we sit as a spirit, from a spiritual point of view. What should humanity be living by? How should we be living? What is our relationship with the ecosystem? What is the respect level? And do we see ourselves as a part of it and a user of it? And when we think like that, are we destroying it? Or are we avda ulashomra? Are we guarding, protecting, not just because we need to protect the ecosystem so the world doesn't get hot or cold or anything like that? That's nonsense. To say we need to be good to the ecosystem because otherwise the planet's going to be uninhabitable is like, it's just a more sophisticated form of selfishness. We have to be kind to the environment because we have a role to discover the spiritual significance of it and to bring the whole of physicality along on that conscious level. And we can only do that by respecting it, protecting it. Okay, we're going to stop here for the night. I'm going to end the recording, and then I'm going to take a few more questions before we finish.